Hello, Just Too Good here with the first episode, hopefully not the last, of the, the Mantis and Man movie podcast, or as Orion would love to say it,
Ma'am, ma'am, have you seen the cinema? Have you seen the Yorgos Lanthimos bitch?
So in this podcast, it's not going to be like anything on the Lego channel. We're going to be diving into movies of all kinds, whether it be a blockbuster or an artsy movie, and whether it be G or R. So it's going to be a totally different experience. But today we have two movies with Muppet Movie and with Dogtooth, but I didn't even introduce my. Let my guest introduce themselves. It's like, who am I? Yeah, I'm looking in the mirror. Yeah, what is this? Okay, no. Right, just go ahead with it. Go ahead with it.
Okay.
Who are you? Who the heck are you?
I'm Rye or Orion. I guess I hail from Lego heritage, YouTube, Twitter. I guess I don't know. I work with the BCC crew here and there. We have our own like Lego podcast, and I did some rather embarrassing Filthy Frank parody videos that were Lego related. And I poured hot sauce all over my eyes and face and like stripped half naked, and did a couple crazy things. But anyway, that's me. I love movies a lot, I guess. I don't know, not as much as some people, but I do love them, and I'm here to talk about them with this creature. With this Justin.
There you go. This random Justin. But no, I met Rye. He invited me, or I don't know, I was on the podcast. I don't remember who invited me way back when. And then I followed you on Letterboxd, and like that was where I saw your movie knowledge. But you approached me before with Shazam, where we did this crazy non-released Shazam video. Tell him about that.
Well, I don't. The thing is that I had seen Shazam and he had seen Shazam, and neither of us. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like it more than him.
Yeah.
I think
it was like an average. Like what? Like
I gave it a little bit of a below average.
Oh, okay. I think I gave it a 5. Yeah. Like I was like, okay. Like everybody was like,
was a 4.
Oh,
it's a bit spicy.
Spicy.
I didn't think it was that good. But I didn't want to do like a toxic review of it or anything. I just kind of wanted to have some banter with someone like-minded, because it's very hard to find anyone like-minded with, or just like very level-headed when it comes to not liking superhero films. At least on Twitter, online, everyone's very bipolar in terms of that. So we sat down and we recorded this, and I was, I was gonna do this whole like live action split diopter kind of thing where I would reenact it between the two of us. We recorded this and I thought it was great, and it was gonna be like the many sins of DC's Shazam, and it was gonna be like a really cool video. And then I accidentally deleted my own audio, and I didn't realize that until about a month after trying to make it. So I just scrapped it, and it was just like, whatever. Okay.
But after that, I saw like, okay, like Orion is somebody I could like talk about movies, and like he kind of we have a similar, I guess, taste of it. Like I saw that you love David Lynch stuff, and like I was like,
I like the freaking weird stuff. David Lynch isn't even like the weirdest stuff on the spectrum I've seen. You got to get down to like Shinya Tsukamoto with like Tokyo Fist or Bullet Ballet or the Iron Man or whatever. And the original Iron Man, not John Favreau.
OG. Yes. What people will probably see from this podcast, I'm learning a lot from Orion because he's more versed in movies than I am. But I've been watching a lot more classic movies and stuff like that, trying to learn more in the recent years.
It's good for the palate, good for the health.
Yes. As I grew tired of the superhero movies, it's like, there's more movies than just superhero movies. No. I remember, I think like the first like time I saw a movie that was like, not like a blockbuster or something. It was The Hunt from 2012, and I saw that.
Wait, what? No way.
You know that? You know that movie?
That's my absolute, like, not my absolute favorite movie. It's one of my favorite movies. I've been recommending it to people like here and there. I don't know if you know Deetan Ogley, but I got him to watch it recently.
Oh shoot!
One of his favorite movies now. I like
love it's that movie.
Yeah, no, oh, man.
Like
he's so hot in it. It's such a great. I'd say it's probably one of the more disturbing films I've ever watched. Just for
definitely.
like psychological or like societal
It's
perspective as opposed
one,
to
as I
something
always said
like
it. It's because
yeah,
people were what I was when I
or your
watched it,
point
I would always
originally.
kind of like recommend it in a way because people were like, "Oh, what's the scariest movie you've seen?" And I don't like horror movies, so I would always be like, "Have you seen this? It's Danish, right?
Yes, yes,
Danish
it's
2012
yes.
movie, The Hunt." And they're like, "What's that?" And it's like, well, check it out. But I don't
You
think.
know, it stars the guy from Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah, yeah, and Casino Royale, right? He was in Casino Royale.
Yeah,
Mads, yeah.
although like I always say that before I say Doctor Strange when I'm telling people what roles Matt Nicholson was in.
No, because
But
in Doctor Strange, leading up to Doctor Strange, I'm like, dude, that's the guy from The Hunt, yo. Like, I'm so
yeah,
hyped. I was like,
like yes, it's not the like not the guy from like Casino
Casino Royale.
Royale
No,
or
no, no. Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
literally,
the guy from The Hunt.
I saw
Yeah,
Casino Royale for the first time like this summer, and I was like, "Oh, yo, hey, Mads, what's up?" But
yeah.
by then, Mads is. I'm so glad Mads became a big. I mean, that's the thing. I don't know. I guess he was big before The Hunt, but I never knew who he was before
He is known in Denmark as
Denmark.
like the national treasure
Awesome.
because he's in so much stuff. I think he's one of the richest men in Denmark too, or something. He's like
Really
in like all these furniture commercials. I don't
based.
he. But the thing is, before he became really big, people still like really wanted to work with him, like outside of Kojima and stuff. But like way before that, Madonna, and I think it was Madonna in "Bitch Better Have My Money." Mads Mikkelsen is so proud of this. He will flaunt this everywhere. He was the bitch in "Bitch Better Have My Money," the music video, and he'll
Oh,
like say that to
based.
people when he's like not auditioning, but like when he's at parties, he's like, "Well, I was, the bitch in Madonna's
That's
video," like
awesome.
that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, the after Doctor Strange he was in Rogue One, right? Rogue One, I think that was or that was the same
Rogue
year
One
maybe.
happened. That was a movie.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah, right.
that.
People always say that's the best new Star Wars movie. I didn't really. I think that's one of my least favorites, honestly.
It's not the worst one, but it's also the most average, sadly.
That's
So
probably why. Well, I to me Solo was. I think Solo was average. I don't know. Did you like
what's
Solo?
funny, Solo is a great movie if you just don't pretend. If you just pretend it has nothing to do with like anything Star Wars related. Like Chewie is a cannibal, or not a cannibal, but he wants to eat man flesh or
I
something.
see. I like those weird moments, but still, as a whole, the
It doesn't.
experience felt very boring to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It lacked a personality. I feel like, even though it was directed by Ron Howard, right? When he
Well,
came in or something like
well,
that. Directed,
no,
quote unquote.
no, didn't Paul Bettany direct that movie?
No, wait, what?
No, I'm joking.
Oh,
No,
because he became
it's like
they didn't they do something with his character where he was like an alien
uh,
before when Phil Lord was and Chris Miller were
I,
there, and then they made him like.
please, like, bruh, please don't turn this into a Star
Oh
Wars
gosh, yeah.
discussion.
Anyways, our next movie, we're gonna be talking about Black Widow. So yeah, what? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Let's.
Well, I thought it was like, yeah, okay, we are. Wait, no, wait, what? Well, wait, explain I guess the gimmick of this podcast, sort of the
Oh,
gimmick.
sort of. So what we were thinking
Yes.
about was getting a big blockbuster movie and then a smaller movie and just kind of seeing how they relate, how they compare, stuff like that. So having Muppet Movie and Dogtooth.
What? Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, Muppet Movie had a pretty small budget, I
Small
guess, if
budget,
you
yes,
don't
yes, yes.
compare for inflation. But back then, it probably would have been pretty huge. Uh,
Yeah.
Dogtooth is like a weird Greek movie that no one had heard of until like it premiered at the festivals. So, yeah.
Yeah, was Muppet Movie? Now I'm thinking, was Muppet Movie technically an independent film? Because what studio was
It's
it even a studio?
well, I see. I'm still kind of blurry on my cinematic history, but at least the way I see it, independent film and like blockbuster film were a lot more gelled together the further back you go through the decade, because
Mm,
just not only like budgets weren't so inflated to accommodate like all these giant action set pieces and everything. A blockbuster as recent as the 90s would have been like Heat. That's like an indie movie compared to films made now.
mhm.
And I don't know, Michael Mann is kind of an indie director too, in a sense. Everything was a lot more personal to a degree. You would still have big studio films even as far back as like I don't know, Charlton Heston and Cecil B. DeMille's Ben-Hur, or no, Cecil didn't direct that, I don't think, but like Ten Commandments or something, were, very big studio mandated films in a sense, but they were still very personal in a way.
See,
And
I did
nowadays,
film history, and I got the general gist of this, but this is why I'm very happy to have this podcast.
I
You
guess
just explained that so well.
a simpler answer would have been that Muppet Movie was more of a mid-budget film.
Mid-budget,
But
okay.
it was very, very ambitious and could have easily, by the term, I guess, could have been a blockbuster budgeted movie, but it was very much a mid-budget.
I'm thinking
kind
more of
film
like,
when it came
okay,
out.
Muppet Movie. I guess we should say more so accessibility and unaccessibility. Maybe, I don't know. You could say that with Dogtooth is a less accessible movie than Muppet Movie in terms of the storyline, the plot, like that's sort of where we're trying to get with this, where we take some, but I think the Muppet Movie itself is so complex and stuff like that on a deeper level.
Yeah.
But you okay, I think they get the gist of the general idea of the pod.
Contrast and compare, potato, tomato, Kermit, dog. Yeah.
Yes. All right, so how do we introduce Muppet Movie? I mean, I guess that was a pretty fair introduction, but it came out in 1979. Directed not by Jim Henson or Frank Oz, which did a lot of the other Muppet movies. It was directed by James Foley. He did the Monkees TV show, which sort of had a similar feel to the Muppet Movie, where it's
See, you did your research, because I didn't. I knew it wasn't directed by Jim Henson, but I forgot that I grew up watching the Monkey TV show, actually.
Hey, I see. I'm not
VHS tapes.
It's for me. My knowledge is just the research. So, can you expand more upon that with the Monkees TV show? Because everybody was like,
I didn't even do any research. And I already know more than
look at that. It's
well, the Monkees. I don't know. I don't really want to give a ton of history on the band, because I think they're okay, but not. They were like,
well, they were formed from the show. Like, I know the general thing. They were formed from the show.
Well, they weren't necessarily formed from the show, but people, I forget who it was, but they were looking for like an answer to the Beatles almost, and then they formulated a way to kind of tie in a mass appeal, kind of teen girl appealing show with the monkey music, I guess. A lot of it was covers, some of it was self-written, some of it not very good. There's a very there's an episode that takes place in a Chinese restaurant involving like Chinese stereotypes and stuff that would
it was
not
a different
fly
time.
today
Yeah,
at all.
it was a different time. Yeah.
But like that. Now that you mention it, though, I can kind of see some similarities, thinking back on it, between the Monkey TV show and the Muppets, just in terms of how, the charm and areas of it.
With my research, like I saw a few clips, and it was like, it seems like, like you said, with the boy band type, that they're parroting that, but it also had that feeling that the Muppets have of, like, from what it looked like, of just not taking it so seriously and stuff. But
and just like Kermit, the monkeys were actually in real life horribly depressed while making the whole thing.
Gosh, oh no!
I saw. It was a very long time ago. I saw like a kind of faux pas documentary with like look-alike actors playing the monkeys, and like how I'm so depressed. Let's do cocaine or whatever.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was really interesting to watch. Not a great documentary or movie, but it's interesting to know that, behind the cheerful monkey TV shows, they were just like a terrible act the whole time.
So with the Muppets, was your for your childhood, what did the Muppets like? Did you watch the Muppet Show, or did you?
My first. Well, I was gonna save this story till the end, but my the Muppets, the first Muppet related media I had ever watched was this film, was the 1979 film.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents were very, very strict conservative Christians, so like no internet, no. I was homeschooled too, which is very like, I have other like Dogtooth related stories. No, no.
Oh god.
But yeah, they wouldn't let me watch a whole ton of stuff, so I ended up watching like a lot of old black and white movies, which are actually very risque, some of them. But yeah, I think around age 9 I had watched this movie. This was the Muppet Movie, 1979. It was my first exposure to it, and my first impression of Kermit the Frog it was weird because I was so sheltered. It was a huge deal that Kermit was like nude to me. It was very strange because like I had because he's like moving like a human and he's also wearing no clothes. And I for a while growing up, I had this idea of Kermit as like this like wild like nudist sex freak or something like that, at least subliminally. That's how I thought of Kermit the Frog. It was weird because like Kermit, like he'll walk out in nothing but like a gun belt and a hat, and to me that was like inherently very suggestive for like a very, very sheltered Christian kid. I never told my parents that, but it was so like thinking back on it, it was like really strange how I perceived Kermit until like I started like watching more films or just watching the Muppets casually. But even now, to me, I get like a lot of dark humor off of just watching clips from like Muppet movies or TV shows and just like laughing at like how Kermit's essentially just like buck naked through the whole thing and walking around like he doesn't care.
Wow. I mean, my first exposure to the Muppets, was probably the Disney ride, Muppet Vision, and I actually I never saw any of these original Muppet movies when I was growing up. The first Muppet movie I saw was a 2011 one by Disney, which is like New Muppets. And I haven't rewatched. I'm going through all the Muppet movies for the first time, and I haven't rewatched those yet. I'm at Muppets from Space, which is, but I haven't started it, so no spoilers.
Traumatized me.
Oh,
the opening sequence. Okay, I won't spoil anything, but try to approach the opening sequence from the perspective of a sheltered Christian kid with the fear of God eaten into them.
Okay, you know what's funny? I did actually watch the first 5 minutes. So, okay, spoilers for Muppets from Space, okay? But, yeah, what? Yeah. Is Gonzo not being able to go on the Ark, right?
It was so traumatizing to me as a kid. I watched that when I was 10, and to me it was so, like, visceral, just being alone and different, and then just being, like, shut. Like, in the Bible, it's like God shut the door, and it's permanent. It's sealed. No one else can pass through it, and everyone else on the other side is just dead. It's permanent. It's finished. It's final. Like... So, the idea of being different or any like or whatever, just being alone and being alone forever or left to die, it was so just horrible to me.
That's man, that's so inconvenient because like that's like the only time the Muppets, I mean, I didn't think of any of these Muppet movies like touches on like a religious thing. And of course it lines up there, like that sucks that it lined up so...
Well, you haven't seen Muppet Christmas then, the best
I did
one.
Why no, I saw Muppet Christmas. I saw Muppet Christmas.
No, A Very Merry Muppet Christmas.
Oh,
the one where Whoopi Goldberg is God. There's a
okay, whoa, no spoilers. Okay, I want to see it. Whoa, okay, I'm hyped.
Got like it's I'm like there's a disco scene where Scooter, he's in a cage dancing. And it is such a weird, bizarre film.
Dude, this one was not on my radar. I'm trying to watch everything Muppet, so I would get to it eventually.
That's my favorite Muppet movie, just how like out of left field so much of it is.
I'm hyped. Oh my gosh, I'm so hyped. Oh shoot.
I'd love to watch it with you over a call or something.
You might have to schedule this, dude.
It'd be awesome.
Oh shoot. Oh gosh. Like remind me during Christmas time, because I might save some of those Christmas specials for Christmas.
It's a perfect Christmas movie. Yeah.
Oh, maybe we could do a commentary track.
Yeah, we should.
And then next thing you know, this movie channel's abandoned in a month because I abandoned all the just two games, just two food. But okay, so, Muppet movie. So 1979, the first one came out, third season of the Muppet Show, I believe. And what I love about this movie is there's a certain when a movie doesn't take itself seriously, it annoys me. But there's a certain way they could do it where they pull it off, and I think this movie did it. And
it's so pure.
The first Bill and Ted does it too. The first two Bill and Teds do it.
I haven't seen any of those films. I need to marathon them all now.
You should marathon. The second one's probably my favorite because it's just bonkers, and it's nothing like the first, which I like. The third one I just actually came back from seeing with my family. That one it felt kind of like a rehash of the first two, but whatever. Okay. But yeah, so the first Muppet movie, one of the most revolutionary things about this was that it showed Kermit riding a bike. It showed Muppets below the waist, which like they didn't really show.
Naked
Kermit, right? And I think in general, I love that feel of this movie where it's so wholesome, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's a good story. It's a good way of evolving from the show because it's not like the show. And I feel like a lot of these TV, I mean, even though the Muppet wasn't, I mean, the Muppets, yeah, were introduced on TV, but they were a multimedia franchise. This was really what started that multimedia franchise to show that they could evolve from TV. But what do you think of the Muppet movie?
To me, it's very similar, and this sounds weird, but it's very similar to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because it feels very protective of the pure idea of Hollywood and the way that Hollywood it wasn't at least supposed to be about the money, really. It was about making people happy. When you get up on a stage and you entertain the masses, you bring hope to people.
The Rainbow Connection, in a way.
Yeah, it's such like it's so wholesome and pure in that way. Though, and the way that Tarantino is like so like aggressively protective of like this idea of Hollywood that he like has to graphically kill the Manson murderers or whatever at the end. He's like, no, this is Hollywood. This is a pure idea. You can't corrupt it. To me, it like Muppet movie feels almost like a precursor to that in a way. Like that's the idea Tarantino almost was protecting in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I haven't seen this film in so long, but even just skimming through it and watching clips, which I unfortunately had to do leading up to this, I couldn't watch the whole thing. It really hits me in the heart a lot just thinking about it.
Yeah, I that was a really good relation with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because I didn't even put the two and two together. But it does, like, even down to the end of this one, I mean, spoilers for Muppet movie, but they Orson Welles signs the contract, which I wasn't expecting Orson Welles to be at the end of Hollywood, but I love that he was the one at the end. Like, he was the one, I guess not at the end of Hollywood, but basically at the end of the journey to let them into Hollywood, because he is a really creative mind who can be associated with Hollywood, but it wasn't like a big star or anything. Like, it wasn't like Orson Welles is a big star, big name, but like I would expect somebody more flashy or something.
He didn't like that he was a big star. He was a lot like Marlon Brando, how he let himself go kind of and became a lot more vulgar almost in a kind of way.
That's a good way to put it. And seeing him there, it was like, that is like I love that because it was like, it's representative of what Hollywood is so much more than just that flashiness and that glamorous, and it means a lot to people. And there's these storytellers like Orson Welles and everything, and I really like that. I thought that was a cool feature.
Oh yeah, there's so much else I was gonna say, but now I'm like, dang it! Now that I'm on the spot, I don't know. It just, man, it's just a great movie. Like you can just like watch it with your kids. I guess if I had kids, this was like one of the first movies I'd ever watch with them.
Dude, I'm planning on it now. Of like showing them this. Like I was like, what movie should I start showing? Like okay, Toy Story I guess would be the best introduction in my mind. But then I'm like, like I want to introduce them to the Muppets now because they are so wholesome, and but also they do have an edge to them that I love, that anybody can enjoy them.
Some of the stuff was deemed too dark. I think they had to cut some stuff out. I forget what they had to cut out. I think it was in relation to the Kermit brainwashing part.
Oh really?
Which also scared me as a kid. They also say kill in it. Like Kermit's like, well, if you're not going to listen to me, then just kill me. It's such a funny line to me, but it's also just like it embodies Kermit. He's like, it's all or nothing with Kermit. Really. and then the thing is that this is kind of nitpicking. I don't even hold this against the movie, but then Kermit will later go into like the receptionist area, and he's trying to get to Orson Welles or whatever, Mr. Lord or whatever, and the receptionist is allergic. So then Kermit is just like, okay, let's just give her incredibly terrible allergies to sneak past her. Then, like Kermit underhanded strikes again, and they just like start molting in the lobby, and then she runs out. Not runs out. She just has. They basically force her. They don't have guns. They just have like feathers and stuff.
Well,
it's amazing.
I think that and something that I think the newer Disney ones, just from what I've seen, well, they had this Disney Muppet show that a lot of people didn't like, but I kind of liked it. The Office was kind of like one.
Oh wait, wasn't that on ABC?
ABC, which is Disney. But
oh man, I don't even know what's Disney anymore. It's
They're
all
everything. But ABC's like I always thought of ABC as their big channel network, like Disney's big channel
Okay.
network, big network channel. And Disney Channel is a little bit more like it sometimes comes with bigger cable providers or whatever. But yeah,
Mhm.
so with that show it did have that edge, but like the original Muppet properties, like they were this very wholesome, earnest thing, but also Kermit as a character, he liked, like they described him as this. He liked playing tricks and jokes. He was mischievous and stuff like that. And I feel like it kind of got lost with some of the newer Disney stuff,
Well,
especially with the new Disney
the
Plus one.
interesting stuff is how much more cynical Kermit became over time, and you'll see like a heavy amount of Kermit cynicism in a Very Merry Muppet Christmas if you ever get around to it.
Well, I'm
It
planning on it
it's
with
like somehow the like the what is it, the suicidal Kermit meme where it came from Conan, where he throws the Kermit frog puppet off the building and there's so much I'm like, oh,
oh, that was the
and he's
source
like,
of it. I was like, I just thought that was some bootleg stuff. Like,
no, that's from Conan. He cold opened his show with Kermit killing himself. It
oh
was
my,
awesome.
that's legendary. I gotta search that
Uh,
up.
but it's weird how that sort of bled into Kermit, whereas Kermit used to be so hopeful and optimistic. And then I didn't watch it, but in the ABC show, apparently it was so bad that that's what made the voice actor for Kermit disagree so much with the studio that they ended up firing him and getting someone else to do Kermit
Well,
because he
what
just
happened was
disagreed so much.
it uh the first few episodes, like they were pretty bad, and I think
Okay.
by like episode 4 or 5 they just like get rid of like I think they got rid of half of the team and just like improved it, and you could see that step up, but then by then the ratings were low, so they canceled it. But it's
Wow.
yeah, but I like those. Like there's like I'm in the middle chunk. I haven't finished it, and I was like I'm
Okay.
enjoying this. Like I kind of like what they're doing here, and then they have a new show on Disney Plus, which is in my opinion just awful because
It
it's
looks soup like it looks like it came off of like Nickelodeon Kids in the late 2000s. It
yes.
it's weird. It's like hyper modern to the point where it's like kids what do you how it's like the Steve Buscemi meme. It's like hello fellow kids.
That's how I feel about it. It's like trying too hard to be hip and stuff like that.
It's weird because if they just went back to the formula they had for the show, I
That's
feel
what
like it would do so well. Like
I
just
it blows my mind. Like why don't you like the OG Muppet show? Like you could
you
do
could
it
literally just
now.
do that.
You could literally do that, yeah. And it would like Disney Plus. I don't know why they have to water something down. I know, I get it. Disney Plus, you could have more mature stuff like The Mandalorian. To put the Muppet Show on there, because I guess they perceive it as too mature or something like that. Because
It,
with Muppet now, it's very, very, in my opinion, dumbed down.
Well, I mean, like obviously Disney has gotten much more safer as the decades progressed, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's not so much like graphic content like arms or legs getting chopped off, even though they wouldn't really show that. It's more just like I don't know, in the writing, I guess, how like they probably just think kids wouldn't relate to it at all nowadays.
Mm.
Where it's like I feel like kids kind of need something like the Muppet Show right now. Everything is it's either too pandering or it's like Rick and Morty, which is also pandering, but it's incredibly nihilistic and also very grown up. So there's nothing in between for the kids to gravitate to.
There was a good chunk. I mean, with like in the 2010s, like I was liking what Cartoon Network was doing. Like I liked like the regular show and stuff like that that were a little bit more edgier
Yeah.
for kids. But yeah, it seems like even more recently, that's like I don't even know any kids shows that are on that have that edge.
Even like well like the not regular show, but you would have had like Samurai Jack and Symbionic Titan in that same
yeah,
era you
yeah.
were talking about. And the thing is that like nowadays Gendy dang it, Gendy Tartakovsky or Tarkovsky. I'm sorry if I'm
Tartakovsky,
butchering
I
that.
always say it, but it's,
Yeah, Tartakovsky. He's making stuff like Primal, and it's awesome, but it's not for kids because there just isn't a market for kid cartoons. Really, it's for adults.
And then
Really.
the thing that he does make for kids, which is Cloud with a Chance, I feel is no, not Cloud with a Chance. No, sorry. Hotel Transylvania, I
yeah.
feel is too kiddie.
Yeah, I like the first one.
The first one was the best one.
Yeah, it's I like at least you can see like his like love for just wacky animation.
And that's why I always I still watch I watched the third one too. Like I will still support it and watch it, but I feel like with the second and especially the third one, it just Like the animation is I like looking at it, but that's about it. Okay.
I guess now it's either do the Nickelodeon mid 2000s kids TV show about like hip cool kids, or you do a Logan movie with Kermit. Really, there's no other option.
And I wish like this middle ground of like I think it would be perfect for Disney Plus because you could have more edgier content on there. But I don't know.
Yeah. I
They
don't
won't
even
come
think
up
Disney
now.
Plus would air Mr. Rogers on there because it would be too mature for people.
Oh
It's
yeah.
too boring.
Well, I mean, like I said, there are some like I was amazed they have like all the Simpsons episodes. They have the Muppets ABC show, which was a little edgy. They have Mandalorian,
Yeah.
which yes, it's edgy. It's edgy for what it is.
I'm not like I wasn't a huge fan of it, but let's not get sidetracked on
No,
stuff.
we could talk. We could discuss the Mandalorian because I like the Mandalorian, but it was. I mean, I liked it more than Shazam, but it was kind of like Shazam, where everybody's like, best
Well, it was
thing ever.
supposed to
Yes,
be
yes.
it was supposed to be a movie, and you can tell that it was supposed to be a movie. That's the biggest problem I have.
Well, you have those like what? There's like what 4 through 7 was. Well, no, 7 and 8. Probably 4 through 6 were like fillers, and then like
I didn't even finish it. I just got so bored with it.
that's the thing. Like the last 2 episodes I really liked, but that was about it. For the like I like the last 2 episodes, and then I like the puppetry of Baby Yoda. I love puppet crap, so that was like okay, I love this because in
Well,
general puppets rock.
I'm more with my man Werner Herzog, who is like
Werner
he was talking to John Favreau. It's like coward, use the puppet, don't CGI it.
Heck yeah.
But
and
they
if
use some-
they CGI'd Baby Yoda, I would like for the whole thing.
No, yeah,
I don't know. I didn't know.
it looks good. It looks good, but to me, I'll still always champion the practical over the.
No. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I love practical
Uh,
stuff more than CGI. Like for me, I didn't notice any times when they CGI'd him, so I was like it was always the puppetry stuff. And even if it looks like, I guess people have a problem where CGI for some reason is seen as less real, but to me puppets are more real as this character that you're controlling in this real world. When anything computer generated, I still have yet like there's very few effects where I'm like, wait, that's computer generated. And I guess
Usually, it's good when there's a mix of the two. When you're doing CGI entirely, it's I think some of the only examples really that I really genuinely enjoyed that were all CG were like the not the lion, the tiger in Life of Pi. That blew my mind.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that
Now
one.
that, well, I mean, the studio went bankrupt.
I
behind
heard.
it, so.
Yeah, I heard there's a great documentary with that. But
And then I think also the studio that did, maybe I'm being confused, but the studio behind the effects for The LionKing, Disney didn't pay them in time, so they went bankrupt or something. I don't know.
Oh
I think I'm not
gosh.
sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think.
I mean, that's like you like that is so in line with the because that movie. But anyways, okay. Muppet movie. What would you rate it? I guess if you can
To me-
assign a
well,
rating since you haven't seen
the-
it.
I guess I don't want people to know me personally as like the guy who like rates movie. Like I rate movies. I love rating movies as a human being. It's just fun to just categorize and rate films. But a
I
lot of times it's
love
very
it.
arbitrary. Just
It
because
is.
of how. Like I feel bad sometimes. I'm like, oh, I give this movie a this or a that. Like usually to me, like my scores are fluctuating all the time, and my friends have told me that makes me a bad critic. But to me, it's like reevaluation is
That's key. That's how you.
tantamount
That's how you. Evolve as a critic is to look back.
Yeah.
There's so many times where I just end up adjusting like every rating, like of like
I'll be
recently.
like, what is this? This is trash. What
Yeah.
is this? Readdress all this.
But I'm glad to hear that I'm not alone. Where you feel bad. Where like, okay, I applied this to one movie and didn't apply this to another movie or stuff like that. Like that happens so much with my ratings and everything. In general, like you said, ratings are fun, but they are arbitrary. So viewers keep that in mind.
It's more for people, like if you're writing a review, I feel like you should include a rating. If you don't include a rating, I feel like it's almost like a disservice to the people reading it, because now they have nowhere, if you're a critic, they have nowhere to place where you'd put it or whatever. But for me, I don't know, probably, and I like everyone else thinks like, what, a 7? That's so low. To me, 7's pretty high.
Same-
I'd maybe lean towards
same
an
here.
8 as well. Like it's not like a it's not like school grades where like a 7 is like, oh, you're gonna flunk if
Yeah,
you
people
get
see it
lower
like
than
that,
that.
but I'm like for example, like 5 for me, a 5 out of 10 is it's an average movie. It could be a fun experience, it could be a good experience, or it could be a mixed movie. There's a lot of things a 5 out of 10 could
Mm.
be, but I don't think a 5 out of 10 is necessarily bad. I think
No,
it's yeah, but people are like, oh, that's an F. 6 out of 10 I give to a lot of things, because that's like okay, it's above
that's
average.
that's like the median almost
Hmm.
usually.
and
Yeah.
and when people see that, they're like, oh, it's a D. But I'm like, no, I like, to me, if I give it a 6 out of 10, I would give it a fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Like it's a good movie in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I think because I didn't get to watch the whole thing, I feel like if I actually just sat down with some popcorn in a dark room and just like rewatch the whole thing, it'd probably lean more towards an 8. And I don't know if it's because like the movie itself is an 8, but or maybe just like how it would affect me like in terms of like sentimentality.
mhm.
Just I'd probably lean more towards that because like I feel like this movie, if I watched the whole thing in its entirety, I'd start crying at some part.
Oh, well, and I don't blame you for that, because it again, like it earns that. Like I think, like even if it's a sentimentality thing, like it's I connected on this movie in ways that I didn't expect
Hmm.
myself to, where it's like
I mean, both you and
living the
Kermit
dream.
are green.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and I mean, I think originally this was the Florida swamp, so in Florida.
ah, yes.
But yeah, so personally, I rated it an 8 when I rewatched it, because when I first saw it, I gave it a 6, and then I
Mm.
was like, I want to rewatch this, and then I rewatched it, and I really like focused, and I was like, I love this a lot more, so I gave it an 8. But then I was like, I'd probably give it a 7, so I think I'd settle with a 7.
Rewatches are where it's at. That's
For
wait, I think what was
real.
it? David Lynch or someone said that the movie starts when you walk out of the theater because that's when you start to reflect on. I don't think it was David Lynch who said that. Maybe it was Terrence Malick or something, but someone said it. Yeah, it
That's
starts when you walk out of the theater because that's when you begin to like really digest and reflect on it. When you
that's a
if you
fantastic quote.
or just like someone else had said with the way the music industry is, and I don't even listen to a lot of music, but I just found the quote interesting. How they said people are so quick to try and release a review of things like music, and you can't listen to an album in a day and then rate it or
Hmm.
score it or give your opinion on it.
Hmm.
Really,
Hmm. And
and
more and more personally, like I used to be like, okay, thinking the whole movie, what am I going to rate this? And then right when I get out, okay, let me put it. But now I've been sitting and thinking and just like
mm,
enjoy the movie
yeah,
after, reflect on the movie, and then later. And that's why I started writing letterbox reviews rather recently,
mm,
and that's been helping
yeah.
me really get concise and formulate my opinions and get
Well,
down to that rating.
it really changes how you watch a film too, because when I was, especially when I was very younger, like when I first watched Drive and thought I knew like everything there was to know about film because I had seen this somewhat indie film after I had my favorite films were like Iron Man and Inception.
So that
But
was your hunt, huh?
that was my hunt
Yeah.
like back in like 2014 or whatever, and I had seen that, but I used to watch films and I was like looking for things that were wrong with it, and then I was trying to rate them and stuff. And you'll see that in like film YouTubers too, as they
Hmm.
grow,
Hmm.
how they'll go from very like clinical and cynical, and eventually they'll hopefully grow into someone more subjective, I guess. I don't
Hmm.
know, but like I went from that to, and I didn't even see Sonic the Hedgehog, but for an example, like I'll go into a theater and watch Sonic the Hedgehog, like hoping for something magnificent. Like I will just give it like the biggest shot ever. It's like, give me a 10 out of 10, baby. I'm ready for it.
And I don't think that's
Like,
a bad mindset to go into things, but you know,
yeah.
also it could be a little bit where it's like maybe you were expecting too much and it ruins your experience. I don't know.
True. Well, maybe I'm more or less like I'm more open to the movie being good as opposed to like going into Sonic the Hedgehog being like,
Ah.
man, it's just Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's just like it's gonna suck.
And
Like
then I think in general that's a positive thing. That's
pro-
good.
probably, yeah. But it is strange how it evolved kind of from that to that.
Yeah, for like I try to go into these movies objectively, but like with Sonic, it's like it's so hard. Oh, I can't.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so maybe you're right.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. I don't know if I would recommend that one, but
I don't know. I'll watch anything.
right. But speaking of watching anything, is that a transition? Our next movie
Sort of.
is Dogtooth, by Yorgos I can never say the last name. You say
Lanthimos.
Lanthimos.
You gotta get the Greek in Lanthimos.
Lanthimos. Yeah, and this was my first Yorgos film because my cousin's been telling me to watch. Like he saw The Lobster and he started getting obsessed with it. But I wanted to see Yorgos forever because when I started collecting Blu-rays last year, I bought all of his movies on Blu-ray. I mean, I guess from Dogtooth.
I can tell you why you bought them too, because their cover art is so awesome.
That's
too. Like,
part of it. Like, dude, the Dogtooth cover art, like, you know, the pool thing, that was just something like when my friends would come over. I remember some friends stuck Dogtooth in the fridge. I don't know why, but I guess they were attracted to the cover art or something.
What a random meme. Just like, I guess I'll just stick a Yorgos in the fridge.
Legit. It was like
chill it for later.
It was somebody who I don't think would ever watch Dogtooth. And back then I didn't even know what Dogtooth was. So I was kind of pushing it. I was like, hey guys, let's watch Dogtooth. It seems like a cool film. And now I'm kind of glad I didn't watch it with them because I don't know if this is a movie I would recommend watching with other people. I mean, it depends how comfortable you are.
It depends on how chill they are.
Exactly. Like I have like my cousin I could probably watch anything with because we watch a lot of artsier movies or stuff like that have so much extremities to it. But I remember I played Dogtooth when one of my friends came over and it was so late, so I actually fell asleep like before 2 minutes into the movie, and I was waking up by him telling me to turn it off because my roommate was coming down and I think there was a sex scene or something, and he was like, wake up, please turn this off. This movie's weird and crazy. And I'm like, oh gosh, what am I getting myself into? So after that happened, I said I would not see this movie for a while. But
to me, I was thinking like after that happened, I knew I had to see it.
To me, no. It actually drew me away from the movie. But my cousin was like, please watch this, watch Yorgos. And I like watching, if I haven't seen any of their movies, I like starting from their first movie, even though I guess this technically isn't his first, but it's like his first.
No, he did a few before. It is better though if you can start with the director to kind of go, if they're a foreign language director and they've made English films, maybe best to start with the stuff they've done in foreign language, because I feel it's almost the best way to sum them up. Like you'll always be in your element way more when you're directing in your own language.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And I did that with not foreign language, but like when I got into David Lynch, I think it was summer 2017. Oh, that was a great time. And I remember I first got into David Lynch because of Twin Peaks, and then I watched Fire Walk with Me, which was my first David Lynch movie. But so I ended up just starting with Eraserhead and then ending with Inland Empire, and that was really fun. So ever since I did that, I was like, I want to do this with so many directors, and I don't know if I've done it with much other directors, but I've tried.
If you do it with one director, I must recommend David Cronenberg.
That I have not. I don't think I've seen a David Cronenberg movie yet. So, all right, that seems
it's hard for me though. Like earlier work, I don't know.
Well, Videodrome is the earliest I could think of off the top of my head, but I'm not familiar with him.
I don't like. To be honest, though, I wasn't huge on Videodrome. I would recommend start with Dead Ringers, which is probably his weirdest movie. Maybe start with that one.
Like, does it have a new release or anything like?
That's
a problem with a lot of these.
I couldn't be bothered to try and find it, so I ended up pirating it, and then to compensate, I bought Eastern Promises for the second time on Blu-ray or whatever. But,
it's on Tubi. Oh, great, Tubi.
Yeah, but maybe start with that one. But I don't know. I think Dogtooth is a little bit more extra. Or no one's more extra than Cronenberg. I don't know what am I saying. It's not Dead Ringers. What am I saying?
Hey, Dead Ringers was 88. Videodrome is 83.
Ooh.
Let me see. One was The Fly. The Fly was 86. So Videodrome might be his first. I don't know. I guess I got to go on the Wikipedia page.
Well, he did a lot of short films too as well.
Scanners was 81. All right. Well, I'm going actually before we get into
he did The Brood and a couple others, which were a lot more lower budget before Scanners as well, which are actually quite good. People don't give them their due credit.
So with him, I guess I might actually literally start from the beginning with one of those some of those earlier ones if you recommend them.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, so Yorgos,
yes.
Dogtooth. We should just speak specifically about Dogtooth.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't like it when a lot of these reviews go over the plot and stuff like that. I just like talking about the movie because I feel like if I give you the plot, you haven't seen the movie, well, then I'm taking away some of that experience from you. So I just assume you guys have seen Dogtooth, but I don't know if most of the people watching this have seen Dogtooth. And Dogtooth is a very extreme movie that would not align with the content of my channel. Just warning you. Okay, that's the last time I'm going to say that. But yeah, so Dogtooth. What'd you think of Dogtooth?
Well, if you had shown this to me before I had seen a lot of weirder stuff, I don't really know what my impression of it would be, but it reminded me a lot of like, it's not as stylistic, really. I mean, it's stylistic, but it's not as kinetically stylistic, if that makes any sense, as like The
Nope.
Lobster or Killing of a Sacred Deer or The Favorite. Both of all
I haven't
three of
seen
which
any
are,
of
are
them,
pretty
but
good. But it's a lot more minimal in its approach, and it's interesting because it reminded me a lot of like Michael Haneke or Hanek, his films. I don't know if you've seen any of them, like
yep. I've
you
seen
know
The Piano Teacher and
the
Pianist,
piano,
right?
yeah, the
Pianist. The one of
pianist.
them's the movie by somebody else, and then one of them's
Roman Polanski,
Roman
who did the
Polanski one.
Adrian Brody movie.
Okay, yeah, I get the names mixed up, but I've only seen the one by Mikhail Haneke, however you say his name, which I love that
Yeah.
movie. I love that movie, which actually kind of reminds me a little bit of this movie in some of the extremities of it, but also the uncomfortableness, but the point it's trying to make. I kind
Well,
of, I don't know, but keep going.
well, the not necessarily the points trying to make, but in Dogtooth, as opposed to like it, and it's so prevalent in Yorgos's like more modern English films, but um, themes of cruelty, I guess, and not necessarily that the point of the movie is cruelty, but you don't see cruelty a lot in films, and to me, it's either like kind of like romanticized sadness or tragedy
Hmm.
usually, which sometimes doesn't really go well with comedy, but a lot of the times you'll have to go to like foreign directors or indie films to find examples of cruelty, I
Yeah.
guess. And not that I'm like jonesing for cruelty that I'm looking for,
No,
but
no,
like with
no.
Haneke or Yorgos, I find it refreshing because it not only does it enhance its comedy, it provides a very unique like window of experience
And
for
that
audiences.
in general, like people say, and I've seen this, people say this movie is a comedy. I did not find this as a comedy. I did I
It's very subtly comedic. I did find some parts funny, but I did not laugh during any of it.
Yeah, I had like a few laughs, and then I regretted laughing after. Like for example, the
So
cat part
I'll
made me
show you for
laugh.
laughing.
Yeah, the cat part made me laugh because it's like, oh, what are they going to do? Oh my gosh, he's going to kill it. Okay, never mind. So I'm like, I felt bad for laughing for that. That was one that stuck out. But I what you said with the cruelty, that's what I see. Yeah, with so is it so the pianist, the piano teacher, is that Haneke?
Oh wait,
The
I'm trying to
pianist.
think. Is it the pianist or the piano teacher? It's like curse you,
Okay,
Roman Polanski, for making
let me see.
Tarantino should let you die at the end of Once Upon a Time in
Okay.
Hollywood.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. But yeah, no, the piano teacher is Haneke. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
So I think
all
I
right,
was
that
right at
clears
first.
it up.
Or was I? I don't know. Did I say pianist? It's funny because in French it is literally the pianist, but okay.
Okay.
There you go. But anyways, so with Dogtooth, this movie kind of took a concept I always thought about where I was like, what if somebody was just secluded from the rest of the world, sheltered to the extent that they didn't know what was with the rest of the world? And then I start thinking about it with myself where I'm like, what if all of us are sheltered from the rest of the world and we don't know it? If like there's something beyond there and it's just like a crazy thought. It's like it's probably nothing.
Well, wait, what's the philosophical or psychological? I'm not very good at this stuff, but the example where it's the like the three men in the cave and they're looking at the shadows of themselves cast by the fire, and that's all that they know of the world. And then eventually
Mm,
one man goes out of the cave and everything he sees is
you,
totally different and contrary to what he's seen. Everything is in 3D instead of 2D, which would
exactly.
have been projected on the wall.
Exactly.
If
That's
you
perfect.
allow me to ramble actually a little bit, I
Hmm.
did a little bit of research. Like I don't like doing this usually. Sometimes I'll do this, and I don't chastise people for like looking up this movie explained. But sometimes I will look into stuff just for a better like perspective on
Hmm.
things. And I did find it interesting. People were talking about how it was kind of like a commentary on a few things, but mostly on how we perceive culture or other people's culture, how things will seem like morally reprehensible to us, or
Ah.
just very strange and icky to us, but to other people, who don't know about any other cultures, or just they know about other cultures, but this is what they've been raised in. To them, it's perfectly normal, and it's kind of in a way, it's double. It's I think I don't think very well about this stuff, but
No, you're
it's
putting
where
this great.
you kind of think about questioning how you perceive things versus how other people perceive things, like your culture versus other people's culture. You know, it maybe to you morally something, or well, okay, the other I'm derailing, but you have that, and then I found it also very interesting. I hadn't seen anyone talk about this, but it's also a questioning of the institutions that substantiate culture, that like governments or politicians that
And
shape
that's, I
culture,
saw
which would
that
be what
as well.
the parents are, in a sense. They would be the institutions that breed the culture that other people are in, and
I saw
it's
that a lot in it, where like it was like, okay, is this could also be commentary on like an oppressive government who keeps the knowledge away from the
yeah,
people.
something like North Korea, or wait, not
Hmm.
North, South Korea, or North
No,
Korea.
no,
Yeah,
North
yeah,
Korea.
yeah.
You're right the first time. You're right the first
Okay, yeah, something like that. It would align
time.
very scarily to something like that.
Yep, that's a great way to put it. And I guess individually, what were some more things you liked about, or that was more what you saw in the movie. So what were things you liked about the movie?
I don't.
It
This is one of those movies where, again, I think it gets better for me after I finish the movie. When I first saw it, compared to his other films, it's quite plain in terms of like just visual presentation, and it's a lot like older or even newer, like Haneke, especially like Funny Games. It felt very similar to Funny Games.
well, oh yeah, and that's funny because that's Funny Games is, I forgot, that's about the only other Haneke movie I've seen.
Was it the new one
No,
that he
the
made, or the?
original '97, right?
I actually like his newer one better.
I would legit see the newer one, but there's no place I could see it. Like there's not even a criterion of it. Like, come on, we got the original one, but not the new one.
Yeah, I was a little bit pissed off that they didn't include the newer one.
Uh,
Because again, I had to watch it in like I probably could have torrented an HD version, but I was feeling lazy, so I watched like a 720p version. I was a little bit mad that I ended up doing that. It was still very good.
yeah, try not to pirate like the smaller films like this, But
A lot of smaller directors actually like actively encourage piracy because it's the widest way that they can reach an audience outside of
yeah,
charging the exorbitant amount, because it costs them to make their films available, and something they just can't do that. So
that's a
um
yeah. Uh,
what else that I liked about it? I don't know. It's a very intangible sort of film for me to say. Like, if you ask me what I thought about like Eraserhead, or like David Lynch, or like Cronenberg films, I could obviously say like the practical effects, like the gore in Cronenberg, or like other stuff specifically. But a lot of the times it would be more just like the impact that it left on you. It's kind of like the Muppets in a sense, how the impact is almost more important than the technical aspects, or any other aspect of like the film itself. Like, I couldn't say like, man, the score in Dogtooth was like a banger, man. It was super
did it
good
even
or
have a
whatever.
score? I don't think
I can't remember, but that's
yeah.
not like a detriment to
That was
it
actually
has a
one thing I
score or
liked,
not.
because I feel like it didn't need a lot of times movies feel
I
like
don't
they.
think it did have a score,
Yeah,
did it?
I don't think it did. Like a lot of
But I
times
was just so
movies
intently focused on it, I
force
wasn't even paying
force
attention.
in like a score is great, but like too many times I feel like they force music into scenes. One of the most annoying things to me is forcing music into scenes, especially emotional scenes. You put the sad music and it makes it feel so much less fake, so much less emotional. It's like, please cry, please cry. To me, when you take away sad music from like a sad scene, a lot of the times it works where you just feel kind of like it's real. And to
Or
me, that
just
affects
like
me more.
take sound entirely out of scenes. Actually, a really good modern example that people maybe talked about when it came out a lot, but the scene in the first Frozen movie when Anna turns to ice. It was great I still loved seeing it in the theater, because like for the first time when I saw it, no one expected that to happen, really. I
Yeah,
guess I was a lot
that's
younger,
actually
but like the music just totally cuts out. And it's like dead silent. You can hear a pin drop. Like, it's
that's
perfect.
an effective scene in Frozen, and I never associated because it doesn't have any sound, music, stuff like that. That's a good point.
If that scene had sound and music and stuff, it would blow. It would suck.
That's a good point. And correct me if I'm wrong. You love Frozen, right? Or am I wrong there?
I in a way, I love Frozen, and I like Frozen 2 to an extent. It's a very guilty pleasure
No, it's
for me.
okay,
But
dude. I won't judge. I mean, I like Frozen 1, but ooh, Frozen 2, I was
the
not a
thing is that
fan.
like those are theater movies, and that's how I feel also about like the Marvel movies too.
Hmm.
When I see them in theaters, I actually have a very fun time. But when I'm like forced to rethink them, like or go back to think about them all the time because people keep hyping them up and talking about them, or I'll see them on home release, it
Hmm.
just isn't the same to see them in the theater, which kind of fits with Martin Scorsese's comment about them being like theme park rides,
Huh.
in a sense.
No,
But
you formulated that. Like, for me personally, like kind of what you said about Dogtooth, with a lot of these, some of the more recent. I mean, I'm thinking of superhero movies that left an impact on me, like Infinity War maybe left me thinking,
yeah,
but they don't leave me thinking, and they are experience. You talk about it with your friends after. I guess that's one part I love about the Marvel movies, and then
mm,
that's it. Like I don't think about it, but like Dogtooth over here is making me
yeah.
think about like life and stuff like that, and I love
It's
it when
definitely
he
one of
does
those
that.
films, and it sounds very pretentious to say this, but now film definitely has the power to like affect your general perception of a lot
Hmm.
of things. Since I was homeschooled and not very well, that I might add, I flunked math the one year I went to public school and then dropped out immediately to get a GED, and I'm still happy with that decision. Trust me.
It's all right.
Um, but I learned so much from films. I was very socially awkward, and through like watching films, actually, I became a lot more
Oh.
confident than I used to be, and I became a lot more open to different ideas, but also very adept at least to some capacity, formulating my own. And I think film opened up for me, especially movies like Dogtooth, when I started watching a lot more. I guess how people would say weirder, but I would either say more provocative films to a degree. More provocative films just opened up, like how Joe Rogan talks about taking DMT
DMT.
to like expand your mental
Yeah.
capacity, your horizon or whatever.
Well, that's
Yeah,
like
kind of
like
like
I
that.
like when I started watching, films like The Hunt or David Lynch movies. Those are like the early ones. Like that like I started having a dream of becoming a director. Like it inspired me
Mm.
to become a director. And this was something that like I always wanted to create something. Like I remember when I
Oh
was
yeah.
younger, like I watched like The Simpsons, and that was a huge inspiration in me wanting to
Mm.
create and stuff, like learn these stories and write and everything. But then like watching those films moved me way more towards film, and like this is such a cool medium. And in general,
Oh
I
yeah.
like film a lot more than TV, because to me TV has a lot of dedication to like episodes, and so it's very strung
You have to
out.
invest so much into it, and a lot of
Hmm.
times you just will not get the investment back.
And I mean, speaking of TV, a recent one that last year I fell in love with Breaking Bad, which I know you love, so that was great.
Yeah.
I saw that for the first time.
I've only seen it once, so I'm on my second rewatch in like a
Oh,
very
nice.
long time. So yeah, but even with Breaking Bad, part of the problem is that it's something you can't sit down. It's not possible really to sit down and experience it all in one go, which is like kind of the beauty of film, is
That's
that
what I
even if
yeah,
it's like
exactly.
3 hours long, you can sit down and watch and just just let it, you absorb it. You just let it wash over you in like
I
one
love
pure
that.
experience, and then you walk out, and then
I
it
love that about film. Yeah, and
like I like when you saw like The Hunt or whatever. To me, like with Drive, it's like I saw that, I was like, I want to make movies. Like
mhm.
even though I had no idea how, and I don't think I probably will ever make movies, but it definitely made me want. Maybe I will. I don't know.
Never say
Who
never,
can say?
bro. Never say never. Like
But I at least it made me want to be more creative, seeing something that is like vastly different to what you have seen before. It definitely inspires you in more ways than one, even outside of like creation. But to me, it made me like it made me feel inspired to like become something different or do something different.
exactly. No, and that was the same feelings I got, and that's what I love about film. I'm with the superhero movies and stuff like that. Like I said, there are some that have affected me like that. Infinity War. I know. I love that one.
Uh,
That one that one left me thinking. I love a lot of the shots there. I love a lot of the direction. I love the
I
acting
can
and everything.
respect that.
There you
I
go.
can
Yeah.
respect
That's
that.
that's the one I'll hold. But do after I probably started getting more into film like 2014, 2015, 2016, 2013, 2012. But then like even more
Mhm.
recently, I've been super 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 into film, and so I did a rewatch of all the MCU movies last year. And when I did that rewatch, that was when a lot of my love for superheroes kind of like not only was it felt so
Well,
repetitive to see all these back to
that's
back,
gotta
and
like be like breaking your femur or something in regards to your love for superhero films. Because I have no idea how people can marathon those movies and
yeah,
still keep in mind like this singular idea that they are like unique, each and
yeah.
every one of them. Because like I have no I like some of them, but even I couldn't like I can't fathom watching them all back to back. It would kill me. Even
I
if I liked them,
know.
it would like it would destroy me
And I
physically
did
and
it for the,
mentally.
you know, I did it as like a channel thing, like, oh, this will be fun, and then like, you know, like it probably ended
I
up
hate
killing
cinema
superheroes
now.
for me. Yeah, but no, I mean, I think all that made me crave non-superhero stuff so much to the
Mm.
point of like last summer was when I really, really, really have gone into film, and like ever since I've been in super into it, trying to watch every type of different kind of movie out there.
Mm.
And I think that was because of all this like superhero crap.
Well,
So yeah.
in conclusion, Dogtooth better than Muppet Movie.
Well,
No.
we actually let's compare the two. You know, so
Well, as a homeschooler, they both like Dogtooth is very similar to Homeschooler. It's very accurate, so I give it a 6 out of
they're
10.
both like
And
if
Mu-
homeschooled you saw Dogtooth, he'd probably give it like an R rating, just like you would give
well,
Muppet Movie an R rating, right? As a homeschool
well,
kid.
it is it. Well, I guess to talk a little bit more about Dogtooth before we would even compare them. Like, were you homeschooled or did you go to public school?
I went to public school.
Okay, because like when you're homeschooled, it's weird because like there's so many parallels to stuff in Dogtooth in terms of like just knowing things. Some homeschool, like I'm not against homeschoolers, and I would if I had kids, I probably would homeschool them myself, just probably better
Really?
and differently than my own parents. But but
Hmm.
in terms of just like yeah, knowing things like about other cultures, about your own body in general and stuff, it kind of connected to me in a way like that. I feel like parents should watch Dogtooth and just be like, please don't do
Don't do
this.
this. That's yeah.
Oh,
You got a
also
point.
another great thing is that there, in the synopsis for Dogtooth, they kind of say that, or not the synopsis, but like the description you'd find on like the back of
Hmm.
a DVD cover or something. It says like how the parents trying to protect them from the corrupted forces of the outside world, and actually in the movie they don't really
Explore.
hint at that really. There isn't really a reason why they're doing it,
Well,
which kind of
I thought it
makes
kind
it
of
a lot more
hinted.
cool.
I thought it just hinted at like a power struggle with the father. Like I thought the father was like super controlling of like I thought he did it as a thing for power because it seemed like he was also controlling of his wife too. Uh,
But the thing is that the wife also went. She was complacent with it as well. Like
mhm.
I think in some degree she probably not could have changed his mind, but could have asserted more. I think she kind of wanted it to be that way too. The way she went along with like the giving birth to the dog thing, which isn't a scene in the movie, by the way. She just says that she's going to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
This isn't Lars von Trier.
But it
We're
felt like
talking
I don't like
about.
it felt I don't know if it was that specific moment, but it felt like she had hesitation with going along with
Hmm.
I maybe it was that specific moment with going along with it. So I felt like there was something more there that they just
To me, it's actually a little bit more powerful if it is for no reason, because some like in terms of like the
mhm,
cruelty or whatever, cruel things happen all the time for
for
almost
no
no
reason.
reason
No,
around the world.
yeah, yeah, no.
And
I mean, I think with this, it was like I think he does it like yeah because
well,
he's an
I mean, I
asshole
think
basically.
he has a reason, but the way the movie presented it to me was that they don't really give you a concrete reason
Yeah.
for it, and you're not really meant to guess the reason. But for me, it was more impactful to just not really think about the reason, because a lot of
Hmm.
yeah, a lot of the times, like especially like in North Korea, you could say Kim Jong Un is like doing this for like greed and money and all this kind
Hmm.
of stuff. Which I mean, yeah, true. But those things aren't really anything of substance. If you really confronted Kim Jong Un and asked him why he's doing this, I don't think he could really give you a good
Hmm.
reason outside of those very material things. Like if you could like give Kim Jong Un truth serum and ask him why he's doing this, like outside of the money and or whatever, I think he would be kind of clueless. Not that he's inherently evil or anything. I mean, he is evil, but
Hmm. Yeah.
but sometimes people are pulled and drawn to do things. Just it's very berserkish.
But I know you love that anime, right?
manga,
Manga.
but
Oh, I
also
just
it had an
desecrated
anime,
it.
which I thought was good. Not the 2016 version, but
That was funny
every
because that was see that was I that's why I said anime because everybody was like, "Oh, have you seen 2016 Berserk? Best thing ever." That's the only exposure I got to it until you
as someone like
started
kind
talking
of
about
involved in the Berserk community, that's such. I hate it when people like always talk about that. It's like
it.
that
Really?
meme
It's
died so
so is
long
it
ago.
is so the new one's bad?
Yeah, it's very bad. But
Really?
like what's it's causality in Berserk. Things happen because they're destined to happen, really, in a sort of way. A lot like kind of like a modified version of fatalism, I guess. Um, Dogtooth, in a sense, is a lot like that with cruelty. How yeah, things just happen because they happen,
Hmm.
and you can choose to escape from that. Oh shoot, there's some man. The more I think about Dogtooth now, I just want to talk about this more because now I'm
It's
thinking
okay.
like,
Go for it.
have you seen Woman in the Dunes?
I have not seen this movie. A movie, I would
Okay,
assume,
well,
right?
I'm going to spoil the ending for you because the ending you can see it coming from a mile away,
Well,
and
is
it
it a
just
really good movie?
it's a very good movie. But
You can see it
like
from a mile away. All right.
yeah, like you'll either forget about it or the ending will still hit you. Like trust me, I had
Okay.
kind of already knew what the ending was. I was like jaw on the floor at the end.
Okay.
The way I describe it, it won't even compare to the movie itself. But it's about this guy who, and this is about the ending of Dogtooth, which I saw a lot of people discussing. But it's about this guy. He's like a
Oh,
geologist or something.
hey,
Or he's
don't
cattle.
give me too much of the plot,
Well,
but
no,
I guess
it's
it will
very
create
brief.
impact. Okay.
He's like looking for like insects and stuff in the desert,
Hmm.
and he's like this businessman or something from Tokyo, and he's on his break or whatever, and he gets tricked by these villagers to go into this pit with this woman, and they leave him down there, and it's just this hut, and he has to make sure that they shovel out the sand, otherwise the pit will fill up and kill them both,
Hmm.
and there's a reason for why the villagers are doing this, but I won't say why and stuff. It's not like a culty movie at all, like
Hmm.
cult themes in it. But he tries to escape so many times, and at the end of the film, there's a chance for him to escape, and like they're doing something or whatever, and he just casually walks up the ladder to the pit, and he looks around, and then he just goes back down and he starts like making dinner and he's like fixing the hut and stuff. And to me,
Huh.
that really resonated
Huh.
with me because it's like the scene at the ending of Dogtooth where you see the trunk of the car, right? And
Yeah.
that's where I forget what her name is, but that's where the girl is
Well, they don't
inside of it.
they don't have names.
They have like in
But then
I was
Bruce
reading
Bruce. I
like
think she got Bruce after, right? Wasn't her
the,
name Bruce?
Bruce sort of. Well, you also
Yeah.
have like the elder. That's who the
Yeah,
father's
yeah, yeah,
called in the
yeah.
script.
Well, yeah, like they have like the elder and stuff, but like I thought like a
Yeah.
actually side note like the fact that they didn't have names I thought was a very interesting part of the movie and
Well, it
more to the
robs them
message
a
and
lot of
stuff.
their individuality, and when they
Exact like that was like haunting to me. But anyways,
I,
back to
well, when you see the trunk, and a lot of the time, I kind of expected it to end where you would either see like a fraction of a frame of a second of the trunk opening, or the credits would roll, and you'd hear the click of the trunk opening. But
mhm,
instead, it just not fades, it cuts to black, which is always the
nothing.
best ending. You never fade to black. No, only cowards fade to black.
As all my Lego reviews fade to black.
Well,
Because my Lego
no,
reviews are pure movies. No, no.
well, you are a male praying mantis, and you die in the end.
Oh
So yeah,
gosh.
you don't even put up a fight, man.
No.
But that's normally what I would expect. But instead, it just ends on the cuts to black, and the trunk doesn't even open. And it's not really a question of like, or wait, how am I phrasing this? It opens up two possibilities where she either gets out of the trunk. It's not like final where she doesn't get out of the trunk, but it's either she gets out of the trunk and gets her freedom and sees the world, or she's been in this environment for so long and she's so afraid of everything else, the way that she's been just like trained a lot like a dog, which all the dog themes, like the licking,
Mhm.
very dog like, the killing of the cat, very dog like, the barking, trained like a dog and stuff. There's a chance that she becomes so codependent on that environment that she can't bring herself to leave, and then she'll go back home and she'll have lost her dog tooth, and they'll continue on the play from there, which remind me a lot of Woman in the Dunes, because this guy it becomes so codependent on just this life that he's been in for like 15 years. It's like Old Boy. He's just been in this environment for so long. It's
Another
all
one I
he
gotta
really.
see. Old boy.
I won't spoil that. That's not even a spoiler. Trust me. They say that in like the
Oh no,
first
no.
two
Yeah, yeah. No,
seconds
no.
of
I know the plot.
But,
No, I was just saying in general. I
but
need to see it. I wasn't saying because it was a
oh,
spoiler.
okay.
Like I know that. Yeah.
But and it also it's very similar to like abusive relationships. How people will, it's all they know. They'll stay in it. It's somehow it's comforting in a way. You'll have these women who get like beaten by their abusive husbands or partners or whatever, and they'll stay in this relationship because in a way it's something dependable. That's
Yeah.
you know. I forget. There's a psychological term for it. My mom
Was
is
it
like
Stockholm
a
syndrome?
psychologist.
Stockholm syndrome? Is that it? No. That's
No. Stockholm syndrome is when you become infatuated with the person who has kidnapped you, like Bruce Willis in Glass.
There you
no,
go.
no, but no, but a lot like that. I don't know. That was kind of like my ramble on that. I also found it okay. Yeah, the
No,
part that
I was
found
gonna
really
say
funny,
like with me before we move on from that, I was even thinking the possibility that she died. Like she
Ooh,
died,
yeah, that's an
and that was
interesting
haunting
one.
to me because it's like she
She's dead in the
died.
trunk. That's funnier, actually. I think that she's just dead. She's just
Yeah,
dead in the
that's what I
trunk.
think.
Why the
That's
movie.
legit.
There's no one to get out of the trunk. 'Cause she's
That's what
dead.
legit. I was like, yeah, maybe she's dead because it's like she died, never even seeing the real world. And when you think about that, like,
And if you like, I've seen like some bad like tooth injuries before. Those suckers bleed a lot. Cause so like they don't show that in the movie, of course, because some things you just have to infer in a movie. Not everything has to be hyper realistic. Otherwise, it becomes non-realistic in a film. Like if she was just bleeding like a flood out of her mouth, it wouldn't really be.
it seemed like it was she bled a lot to be.
Well, like if like it, not like constant bleeding, like people can die from having a tooth broken at the right place because it's just like a fountain of blood, really, and they'll just bleed out. But
Wow.
that's actually funnier now that if I think like it falls in line a lot more with the dark comedy. In a way.
Yeah, it could be. that could be. That's that's how I probably interpreted it. Like I thought it was either that or she escaped. But I didn't even think of, that she would go back home and even just go back to where she was before, and that was a
I think maybe
possibility
it's
too.
not that she decides not to; it's that she hesitates for too long.
Mhm.
It's not that she decides, okay, I'll go back. Otherwise, she would have gotten out of the trunk and waited by the car. I think maybe, but it's just she hesitates too long, probably, and then maybe goes back home, which is more tragic. The dead in the trunk is funnier, and then the one where she leaves is more hopeful. But I don't think Yorgos is really the. I think his films are very hopeful films, especially once you see The Lobster. It's to me, it's actually a very hopeful film, and you'll find a lot of hope in very, very dark, twisted films. But oh wait, I had to touch though on we were talking about Dead in the Trunk comedy almost. She was watching Rocky, right? Was I was right?
It was. I noticed Rocky
was-
for sure, and there was what was that? I'm sorry, I saw it a week ago. I forgot the other movie, but yeah, Rocky was there. Because they even mentioned Rocky, right? They even mentioned Rocky, I think.
No, they don't mention Rocky. They mention
Like-
like because they couldn't get the rights to it, obviously. But it's like Balboa, and she's talking about like Creed. Or
Exactly,
whatever.
yeah.
To me, it's like that was like so darkly funny, but also like just emblematic of just like the human struggler, almost like just yearning for more like knowledge, like just the like even through the fighting and stuff. It's just knowing more and experiencing more, and like she's like kind of like fake punching herself, and she's like super into it. She's like sticking her jaw out, and like Keira Knightley in A Dangerous Method, while Michael Fassbender spanks her, and she brays like a donkey and sticks her jaw like that. Like
that was deep, but
no, but that reminded me of that too, which was also super funny. But yeah, that was like the highlight of the whole film for me too. Not just because like shallow reasons, but I really liked that scene a lot. Just like out of nowhere, boom, Rocky, and, like, it's great.
Yeah,
and, like that's the power of film too.
And
is
that's
not like Yorgos would even think that film would influence these.
You said they
sheltered
didn't get the rights to Rocky and stuff like that, but like I don't think they like, for example, Fly Me to the Moon. Like, I mean, that's not public domain. That was
well, wait, they sing. Well, the thing is that like I don't think it's like when you could.
I thought it was fair use. I just assumed it was all fair use or something.
It might be fair use depending on the country. You can't use it if it's before 1930. 7 or something, you can't use it. Like if you try to use it on YouTube, it'll be claimed.
Mm-hmm.
Like La Vie en Rose by shoot, what's her name? Edith Piaf or whatever. You can't use that on YouTube. You'll get struck for it because it was made after 1930 whatever. But I think it's different depending on the region. They may have gotten the rights to it. I'm not sure. It's probably fairly cheap because it is a older song.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's featured in like so much stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
Evangelion got it, and Evangelion had like the hamstring budget for a lot of it.
Yeah, you're probably onto something then. But
oh yeah, the whole point to compare and contrast and rate the two.
With all this discussion, I'm trying to think. What do you have anything to compare and contrast the two with? Like not obviously to contrast, but like similarities between the two.
Well, the power of film for sure.
Okay.
Because like the whole Rocky thing in that, and it's weird to see that pop up, but it also makes perfect sense that like for me, even as a sheltered homeschooler, which similarities to Dogtooth, not very similar to Dogtooth,
hopefully,
obviously.
Yeah.
But the way it could reach you through that, in the same way that film reached Kermit, even like. Yeah, it's kind of like an angel falling out of the sky to tell Kermit about the rich and famous thing. But I take that more as a metaphor than anything literal. But, something like that, just how film can influence you. I think Dogtooth is probably a lot more refined and provocative, obviously, just because of who made it, how it was made, and the time that it was made as well, who it was made for. It's hard to say like which one is better. If I had to say I had a preference for one, I was going to say Muppets, but the more I talked about it, the more I think about it, I think I have more of a preference for Dogtooth. But that's like the snobbery in me talking. If I sat down and watched the Muppets, I'd be like, screw that pretentious stuff. Like Muppets all the way, man. But
heck yeah.
For now, I Dogtooth probably like a solid 8 for me.
Yeah, I gave it
for sure.
I gave Dogtooth an 8. I would say, in my opinion, objectively, I hate saying objectively for a rating. I wouldn't even say that, but film, like Dogtooth left me thinking more. I think that with Muppet Movie, there's a lot of like cameos that and they feel like cameos and they're movie cameos, and it's a movie, and that's what I like about Muppet Movie 1, and they do this with some of the other ones. They set it up as a movie so that you always know it's a movie, and it might not be the exact same story of the Muppets and how they came, like stuff like that, and that's okay. But the performances, I love the performances in Dogtooth, like the children especially. Like I was just like amazed at how natural they felt going along with all this. That really like kind of struck me. And then with Muppet Movie, I love the performances of these characters that are beloved and everything, and that's the best part. But then with like some of the celebrity cameos, it just kind of feels like a little bit, but
a little bit contrived. And it's not like Muppet Movie is necessarily meant to be insanely provocative or whatever, so it's hard to compare the two, like thematically, I guess. But it in terms of like objectivity versus subjectivity, you can't ever have one or the other. It's always going to be mixed. You always have subjective and objectivity, mixed together.
Exactly.
I hate when people say film is entirely subjective. You can't hold objective value to it, because you obviously can in terms of stuff like technical aspects of a film. I mean, yeah, but yeah. Anyway, you go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I think I liked Muppet Movie better, but I liked it. I liked watching it better, but I liked thinking about Dogtooth better, because Dogtooth is a very uncomfortable movie in that regard, and that's not like I don't hold that against it.
I'm not in a rush to go see it again, if that's what you're
but
trying to say.
But that's a great way to put it.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic way to put it. That's it too. I think Dogtooth is a better movie in terms of like the value I got from it, but I love the Muppet Movie, and it was a more enjoyable experience.
Sounds like it's a tie for you almost, if I had to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, and it was for a little bit, but like for Muppet Movie, there are a lot of like plot parts that just like, there's a middle chunk of Muppet Movie that is a little feels a little bit like, okay, next thing, okay. And so I had a little bit more problems with that, like And it's not taking itself seriously, but that stuff more of like, okay, I kind of wish they improved this part. But then when I see Dogtooth, there wasn't much where I was like, oh, they should improve this or that. And there wasn't much problems with Dogtooth in general. I just kind of wish they explored some more like facets of this. I wish for the great acting of like the children, like I had a hard time distinguishing them. I don't know, like in terms of their personalities and things like that, which could be a feature of it, that they are these nameless
I don't think you could really expect them to have much of a personality when they're all kind of trained to do the same things, really.
Mm-hmm.
Especially personality is developed because of like your individual experience of things. And if you have very limited experience, you're not going to have much of a personality, really, in terms of like stimuli. If you're not getting a lot of intellectual stimuli growing up or reading or whatever, what you're taught, and obviously they're very limited, yeah, they're going to be very milquetoast.
And in that point, I've been thinking, like, I've been in conflict with, and that's why, if I had to be honest, when I first saw Dogtooth, I was even thinking of giving it a 9, and I've still been thinking about it, that I might even give it a 9. So I do like Dogtooth better than Muppet Movie, but I think I want to rewatch Dogtooth, honestly, before
I might wait a little bit before I rewatch it personally. I don't rewatch stuff very often just because I'm always watching newer stuff, but I kind of need to.
Well, because it was like it was uncomfortable, and I didn't want to go back to it. But the more I think about it, like I kind of want to look even deeper into it, and that's what's making me want to go back to it. It's weird.
The only reason I'm not like if someone asks me, why aren't you giving it a perfect score, because you've talked about how much you liked it so much, mainly just because while it is provocative and stuff, and I think it is a very well made movie, there are other films that I like way more that like are way more my type of thing. Like I'm more like, as much as I appreciate Dogtooth, I'm a very like visual person. So like that's why something like Mandy is such a huge movie for me, just because of like all the red colors. It has like a Nicolas Cage wielding chainsaw, drinking vodka in his underwear with tigers in his living room or whatever type of movie. Like that's my kind of movie. That's like Dogtooth isn't necessarily like the movie I would give a perfect score to. And I like how kind of plain it is in some areas, but it's also kind of like a detriment to me personally.
I with the plainness of, in terms of direction, I like,
which is intentional, but it's like a subjective thing. Like
yeah, no, I understand. Front, right? Yeah, I understand. And I was going to say, with it made it for another problem I had with it was the first act. I was a little bit I didn't not connect with it, but I wasn't as interested right off the gate.
It's a little slow
like that, and it's a slow one.
And
yeah,
it might be just because it might be a writing thing. I'm not sure. A lot of like you have slow burn movies, but then sometimes you have slow burn movies that don't have like the most like affecting start that a slow burn could have. I'm not saying Dogtooth has a bad opening.
Not at all. No.
But yeah, like I get what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, how it starts and everything. I felt at first it felt like, okay, I felt like it was being provocative to be provocative when I first saw it, like of that. But then like I slowly was like, oh no, this is
warmed
great.
Up to it.
This is deep. Yeah. So that was another part of it. But yeah, so I want to look back at that first act again, which is what's driving me to maybe rewatch it. But I want to finish. I really want to see his other stuff first. Like I want to go in order. His next one's Alps. I think that's from 2011. Have you seen that one?
No, because this is only my fourth, or technically fifth if you count his short with what's Dylan guy, House of the Jack Build star. He's in a Nimic. It's a short film, very good short film.
Oh, yeah, I haven't even heard that one.
Yeah, no, that's great. Technically, this should be my fifth one, but if you're just counting full length features, only my fourth. So I kind of want to amend that.
Mm-hmm. I see. What it was called, Mimic. Nimic
with an N. The poster art for it is great. It's a literal kind of like, I think it's an N, maybe. I think and it's made out of the bodies of.
I see it. No, this is cool. It's in my watch list. So I put it on my watch list sometime.
Wait, you have to tell me. Is it Matthew Dillon? Who's the star?
Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon, yes.
That name
Okay.
sounds familiar. So you said the house that Jack built.
House that Jack built. Another one of my all-time favorite films by Trier, who I had mentioned. I don't know if this is.
I
Just
haven't
me
gone on
recommending
Lars von
films
Trier
to everybody. Like, but
no,
yeah,
that's
Lars von Trier. Watch all those films. Go watch them.
yeah. He's one of those like I always heard, and I'm like, well, that's one that I want to start at the first one, and you know.
I've only seen like I'm very guilty of just watching like a lot of newer films. So I've only seen his newer stuff. To be fair, like I do like Yorgos's newer films more, just because they're more stimulating than like Dogtooth, which is a lot more plainer and subtle, which is probably by choice. But again, it's a personal thing.
Yeah, I see. So I mean, I think that was pretty good for both of them. I can't
Pretty good
with the Muppet Movie and Dogtooth. I wish I could add more comparing, but I think we've done enough contrasting them. I'm sorry, guys, about that.
It's hard. Like I was also kind of looking to see if any influenced the others, because like you'll see how like Rocky obviously influenced Yorgos. Not that you'd see it in his work really, but I have to research this probably, but I wouldn't be surprised if Yorgos watched Rocky and then was just like absolutely infatuated with cinema, and then like was like, I must make Dogtooth.
That was his Rocky. Hunt, and you know.
Yeah, that was his hunt,
Yeah.
which says a lot about how we'd see Rocky as like a blockbuster film, but to him maybe it was like how you'd see the hunt back, like it was about Rocky was that Rocky was Charlie Chaplin's last film that he saw in theaters too.
Really?
And he liked it a lot.
Wow. That's something else. So. But what is next week's episode? Ooh.
Well, I saw Tenet recently,
and I'm gonna see it this weekend.
There's another like great high concept original multi-million-dollar blockbuster Austria driven film coming out. Mulan on Disney Plus for $40. So I'm very excited to see that.
Oh, I think 30 actually. It's not 40, it's 30. Ooh, yeah, great deal. $10 more than anything else, but yeah, there you go. Because
I was thinking, compared to Mulan, I think maybe Tenet's, an indie movie. It's by like a small time director, Chris Nolan, who did he did The Following. He also did Insomnia with Robin Williams and Al Pacino. That's not a lot of people talk about.
Don't say anything about that, because that's like I'm dying to see that movie, and that's like one of the last Nolan movies. Funny enough,
I
Following
in that either, and I chastise people for talking about like, oh, I'm such a big Nolan fan. It's like, shut up! You haven't even seen Insomnia. I've never seen you talk about it. It has Al Pacino and Robin Williams. What's wrong with you?
I've seen when I found out, like, because I have it, and I'm like, this has Robin Williams in it? I'm like, okay, what? But I think I've seen all of his movies except Following and Insomnia. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, but I guess we'll hash it out between Tenet and Mulan.
Well,
I guess.
Hey, to be fair, you were hyping up Mulan a few months ago. I mean, not a few months ago, like a year ago.
Well, the thing is that, like, to me, it was like, can I have crumb of cinema, Disney, please? But it was a lot different than the other offerings that they had for their remix. So I was like, man, I was pumped. I was desperate.
What moment did it all change for you? Or has it not changed? The
moment that the lead star, like, condemned the Hong Kong protesters.
Oh. That was like, no.
I was like, I mean, like, I love film, man. I got morals. I know when you look at my Blu-ray collection, it doesn't look like that, but trust me, I still do.
Really?
Yeah, it's like I sat through 101 Days of Sodom, Salo, but I'm not paying for this movie. Although, yes, we will definitely pay.
Oh, we are going to pay.
The $30 for this movie that will be free in December.
I'm definitely I mean, it's it's
Mulan
like if you put it on there, high quality rip. What? But yeah,
Mulan isn't a movie I will like. Is a movie I wouldn't mind watching in 480p resolution.
Well, I'm just saying, if they were to pirate it, since it's on Disney Plus, they will probably be able to get a 4K version on a certain site or something. But that would be awful and illegal, so we cannot.
I will leech off of my friend's Disney Plus account. I'll use. Oh wait, I don't know if I can use
And
OBS
just
to record it.
use his account and purchase it on his credit card number or whatever. 'Cause you got to pay an extra 30, so it's gonna be fantastic.
Oh wait, no, I forgot about that. Yeah, I can't even leech off of that to get it. Curse you, Disney.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
I
still
guess
like, come on, like this $30 extra to Disney Plus thing is so freaking stupid. I'm sorry.
bruh, it's like Seth Rogen's an American Pickle. It's like releasing that on HBO Max for $30. It's like
yes.
what? Or
Now-
yeah, it's
now
like
real talk, if
releasing
they-
New Mutants in theaters for $30.
Hey, if they put Tenet on for $30, would you like what? Get it? Would you have paid for it?
I love Nolan, but I'm not paying $30 to see it. No, okay, wait. No, the thing is that if Tenet, the thing is that Invisible Man and a couple other films, they were in theaters and then COVID hit, and then they had to kind of take them out of theaters, and then they were charging like $20, to I think it was to buy them, maybe, or something like that, or maybe it was to rent. But that's perfectly acceptable because those were meant to be in theaters and everything. And I know Mulan was meant to be in theaters, but they ended up doing reshoots and stuff while COVID was happening, and they've had all this time to prepare. And it's a Disney original technically. If like Invisible Man wasn't like an Amazon original, and
Yeah.
but then Amazon got the license to it, and now they're then you could watch it for like $20, which is perfectly acceptable. It's again, it's like an HBO original, so like an American Pickle. They released that. It wasn't meant to go to theaters.
Yeah.
Maybe it was meant to go to theaters. They pull it, but it's their own movie, and they release it
I
on
don't
their
think
own
I
platform.
have you
that
seen American
pay
Pickle?
for. No, I want to see it.
Please see it. It's like the most unremarkable experience. Well, I guess that's not really a phrase.
Oh no,
No.
I had high hopes for this.
Well, no, it's like I don't like it's remarkably unremarkable. Is that like a thing? I love when movies are like that, and that's like a rarity. And
Oh,
American
okay.
Pickle was like that, and I want to see American Pickle again because of that. Like, there's some nothing movies that are like they're very nothing, and they're so nothing that they interest me, and that's one of them. I don't know.
Inherent Vice. That kind of reminds me of that.
Really?
Oh wait,
I'm
we're,
actually
like,
on a
way-
PTA little. I started with Heart 8, and so Boogie Nights.
that's the one film of his I haven't seen yet. I've seen like Magnolia, Boogie Nights, the movie that Mark Wahlberg profusely apologizes for every single time it's brought up that he wishes he never was in.
Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights, yeah.
I love Boogie Nights. Wait, is Boogie Nights a bad movie? I love
No,
Boogie Nights, and I
like-
love Mark
like
Wahlberg
Boogie
in it.
Nights, and I like Boogie Nights. I don't know if I'll watch again. Like I like I'm still a Christian. I like have a very open mind about things, and when it comes to film, I approach things differently than a lot of people would. But Mark Wahlberg, he became like a Christian like 10 years
Oh.
after filming Boogie Nights. And of course, given the subtext, like the
Oh.
content of Boogie Nights, now he avows that
Oh
he
my
disowns
gosh.
the movie,
Give
even
me a
though
break, Mark. That's like
he
his
got-
best performance, I think.
he got he requested that they give him the large prosthetic they use at the end of the film, and he owned it up until very recently, I think.
Oh, when he started detesting the movie.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
I gotta get rid of this. But I love that movie, and that's my favorite performance by him. So whatever, Mark Wahlberg, because I don't know. I mean,
Mine's the Happening.
The Happening.
I
I have not seen that one, but I don't know if I will. I forgot. Yeah, he is the lead of that, huh? I just
What?
like
No.
Transformers. Woo, yeah. I don't remember he was in there.
Hey, whoa! I like those.
Oh, you do? Oh,
Yeah,
okay. We gotta
I-
bring those up sometime because I did not like those.
Maybe on a future episode, if like this turns out good enough to publish and people like it, I guess. And
We'll
everything.
see. We'll see. We're on the rambling on territory, so I'll cut it. I mean, I'll cut it. I'll cut an end. Well, we'll end
this
it
is
here.
perfect. This can be the Patreon edition.
Oh, yes. Go support our Patreon. No, we're not doing Patreon.
Yeah.
It's like
Maybe.
the outtakes or whatever. Just extra crap. 10 of us. No. But anyways, I hope you guys liked listening to this, and let us know what you guys think of the episode. But also, what you guys think of Muppet Movie and Dogtooth? I can't believe I'm telling my viewers to watch Dogtooth, but this is a different channel. So go, it's graphic, but go watch it. And let us know what you think in the comments. But we hope to do this weekly, and
Yeah, I'd love to do this again.
yeah.
That'd be awesome.
And if you guys have any film suggestions, I guess, I mean,
Mhm.
we have so many planned, but throw them in the comments,
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, I've probably already seen any of the films you're gonna suggest, but
All right. Hey, I'm trying to personally get you to watch movies that you haven't seen, so that's my goal.
true. Yeah,
So
true, true.
yeah, with Mulan, obviously, but there you go.
Very exciting.
Anyways, peace out. See you guys later, I guess. I don't know how to end
Yeah.
it. Ugh, all right.